Switch 2 needs all the games that skip the original. So I was able to come across this article and I had to agree with a lot of the stuff that was stated in it, especially after the Switch 2 release and the reveal of it. I am excited for that to come out. I'm kind of curious if I'm going to even be picking it up once it's first released, just because for the most part, I usually tend to kind of hold off on kind of going that route, just because a lot of the consoles out there that, kind of end up having some glitches or bugs in them and everything like that. I've had a few people that I've known that have picked up some consoles when they first released and stated that they didn't have any issues, and I feel like that's probably going to be a big chance that that'll be the case when the Switch 2 comes out, because I feel like Nintendo is usually kind of on top of that type of stuff. But I probably will hold off just maybe like a couple months just to kind of see how it goes, see how things are and everything like that. But as far as what's stated in this article, I gotta say I really do agree with it because of the fact that there are some games in it that I would like to kind of see come to the Switch too, if possible. So we'll go ahead and get into that, and then we'll check out what we got here. So the Nintendo Switch shot to success on the strength of fantastic new games like The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. Those games established the Switch as a must have console, and during the system's launch window, that's exactly what it needed. And that is one of the crazy things, because I remember when the Switch came out at first, I actually purchased my Wii U from a friend. He wanted to get the Switch, so I pretty much bought his Wii U off of him. Got a couple of the games, the Majora's, I mean not Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and then Twilight Princess, and then I was able to kind of give him the money so that he could get the Switch while I ended up kind of sticking with the Wii U. But I was still able to get Breath of the Wild, which was the main game that I actually did want to get. So I loved it. I love Breath of the Wild. To this day, I still love it. I haven't gone back and played it in a while, especially because of, the fact that Tears of the Kingdom came out. So that was the last kind of one in the entries that I played so far as between those two. So I don't know. I might go back and probably play Breath of the Wild again just to kind of give it another play, because I haven't done it in so long. But yeah, as far as the games go, those are definitely some that I enjoyed. I never played Super Mario Odyssey, so I can't really say much on that one. But yeah, as a Zelda fan, yeah, I was satisfied with what they were able to release for that one. So, how the Switch cannibalized the Wii U's back catalog. Those marquee games weren't the only thing that kept the Switch going for nearly 8 years. On top of the 20 best selling Switch games, 5 are remasters, remakes, or ports. The number one best selling game on the Switch, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, is an expanded port of a Wii U game. The second best selling Mario platformer on the console wasn't the series' new entry, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it was New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, another expanded port of a Wii U game. Wonder also trails Super Mario 3D World Bowser's Fury, which was, you guessed it, an expanded port of a Wii U game. The top 20 also included 2 remasters, remakes of Pokemon games, with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl at 13, and the Ground Ups remake Let's Go Pikachu slash Eevee at 12. And I gotta say, I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think that one's pretty fun. The other ones, though, I actually don't own. So I don't have Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which is one that I actually would probably want to get out of all of them. Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. I had really no interest in getting that one. And then what else was there? Super Mario 3D World. Yeah, same thing. Didn't really have any interest in doing that. And then as far as the Pokemon games, I kind of stopped at Gen 1 and 2, so I never really got into those. But I was kind of curious as to getting Pikachu, Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. But I had a buddy that mentioned to me that it was just a really simplistic game and there wasn't a whole lot of a challenge to it. So I might consider going back and playing that one, getting that one if I were to, would most likely be Pikachu. But yeah, as far as kind of going back and getting any of those, there weren't really any of those that kind of interest me. So hearing that those were some of the best selling games on the Switch itself, it's not surprising more so, but just kind of crazy that that's the case. And then we'll go ahead and continue on. So, as good as the new stuff on the Switch was, its long lifespan was bioed by these re releases. This made the games that never migrated to Switch standalones all the more. In fact, if Nintendo was hard up for originals, it could build a pretty fantastic lineup from the Switch 2 exclusivity for eagerly anticipated games that skipped the Switch. Building a launch lineup out of Switch games we never got. So, The Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are 2 of the only first party Wii U games that never made the leap to Switch, and they also strike me as the most egregious examples of Nintendo leaving money on the table. The Big N seemed to port everything it could to get its hands on from the Wii U to the Switch, yet skipped over these games that had already been remastered for the Wii U. That recent upgrade meant that the new port likely would have required little additional work to get them up to modern standards. It's a bizarre choice, but it gives the Switch 2 an easy layup. And that is one of the crazy things, was that they never actually came out with those ones for the Switch. I remember when they had, I think it was the 35th anniversary for The Legend of Zelda, a lot of people were speculating that was going to be one of the things that we had received, but it just never came to fruition, which was really weird, especially like when they say that it already had an upgrade to be able to be an HD standard, which is really cool. You know, that was one of the great things. That was one of the nice things when I did purchase, when I did buy my Wii U from my buddy. He included those two games with it. So the fact that they already had HD versions of those games was really a nice thing, but it was a little bit weird that they never decided to put it to the Switch. So I'm kind of hoping that that'll be the case. I was actually talking to a coworker about that the other day, just because he was mentioning that his favorite Zelda game is Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess myself a lot, but I personally wouldn't consider it my favorite. But he was stating that he is hoping that if they do release the Switch 2, that is going to be one of the games that we're going to be getting, and I got to agree with him. As well as the fact that I love Wind Waker, but I still have Wind Waker on my GameCube. I still have Twilight Princess on my GameCube as well, but I don't know. For some reason, I kind of enjoy. I don't mind playing Wind Waker on the GameCube, and then Twilight Princess, kind of the same thing with that. you know, the HD remasters are nice, but I just feel like there's something about being able to play it on the GameCube with the GameCube controller that just, for me, is it's just it's really special. I don't know what it is. So, Metroid Prime 2 and 3 are in a similar position. The full Prime trilogy got a collectible release on the Wii, but with Metroid Prime Remastered, Nintendo left the sequels stranded. Rumors pointed to a full Metroid Prime Switch trilogy being in development for years, but it just never materialized. If Nintendo is waiting to release it until 4 finally arrives, these two could end up being Switch 2 launch games. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to play 2 and 3 as far as Metroid Prime goes. I remember I had I do have Metroid Prime on the GameCube, and I don't know. It was weird when I went to go back and play that game for the first time. For some reason, it was giving me kind of like motion sickness. So, and I'm usually not someone that has to deal with motion sickness when it comes down to first person shooter type of games, when you have that first person perspective. So the fact that it was one of those games that was giving me that motion sickness to it, it was a little bit weird, but it was just one of those things. I just stopped playing and I never really went back. Chances are, if I were to play it now, I probably could play it, because of the fact that I've noticed with some of those games, a lot of the times it tends to be that I'm just kind of sitting a little bit too close to the TV. So if I'm sitting at my desk playing the games or something like that and I can just back up, I feel like I should be okay. But yeah, if they did have it for the Switch, I know there was the remaster. I never got that one. I would want to replay it first on the GameCube just to kind of see how it is and see if it's worth playing at all. And then if that ended up going well, then yeah, I would definitely love to see personally a remake of 2 and 3 on the Switch if they were going to go that route. But again, like it's stating here, if they were to do it, I think they're better off just doing it for the Switch too, if that's the case. And then we'll go ahead and continue on. So, and finally, where in the cosmos is Super Mario Galaxy 2? With Super Mario 3D World All Stars, Nintendo brought the first 3D Mario platformers to Switch. They promptly Thanos snapped it out of existence, but left Galaxy 2 stranded on the Wii. Some hope that this might mean that the game would get its own standalone remaster sometime down the road, but that has not been the case. As a result, it's the only 3D Mario I've never played, and I'd like to remedy that. And that was one of the crazy things, is that I was one of those people that was kind of thinking that they were going to come out with Super Mario Odyssey 2 as its own like standalone game. I only played Super Mario Odyssey when I personally bought the Super Mario 3D All Stars, because I do have a copy of it, and it was one of those things. I heard a lot of people talking about how Super Mario Odyssey was, or I'm sorry, Super Mario Galaxy was good, but Galaxy 2 was actually probably, some people were saying they felt like it was actually better than the first one, and it was one of the best Super Mario platformers out there. So the fact that they haven't released anything for that, again, is a little bit weird. I feel like it's kind of weird, right up there with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and then as well as the Metroid Prime games. But the fact that they haven't had anything come out, I feel like there is a possibility they might actually be holding off on this with all of these games for the Switch 2. Because let's say, hypothetically speaking, they don't have any games like any specific games that they're going to be coming out with for the Switch 2, maybe for a while. The fact that they could be going back on these other games that you already know would sell without any issues, it's I feel like that'll be a really smart move on their part. But again, we'll have to see because only time will really tell. So all in all, that's a pretty good lineup. With the Wii U catalog mostly exhausted, Nintendo won't be able to coast on releases like it did with the Switch. But if it keeps the consoles flush with strong new games, there's still some room to keep digging in the back catalog. And yeah, I mean at the end of the day, especially with the Wii U and then the Wii and just the catalog that they have of games kind of in the past few years that can really be ported to the Switch without having to go to like let's say like the Nintendo 64 and stuff like that. I feel like there is a lot of potential for Nintendo to kind of go back with some of its older games. Who knows if that's kind of the direction they're going to be going in? I feel like there is a possibility that it still will be, but maybe they are kind of mainly looking to the future as far as coming out with new games and stuff like that. But I don't know. It could be one of those things where they're trying to go for one, like, go to the back catalog, go for the other where they're just trying to do newer games, or keeping it the way that they've been doing, where they're just going back and forth, where they have some of the older games that they have from the past, as well as, some of the new stuff they're going to be trying to come out with. I would love to see a lot of these games come to the Switch too, especially since we didn't get any remasters or remakes or anything like that for the Switch at all. So being able to have at least this decent amount of games, this good catalog that they have that could have the potential to be coming to the Switch too, that has me hyped and that has me really excited to kind of see what the future is going to hold when it comes down to this console when it does get released. So I think this is good news. I think it's really cool. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Is there any fans of some of these games? Let's say like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Metroid Prime 2 or 3, or Super Mario Galaxy 2. If they were to be, bringing those to the Switch 2, would you be purchasing them yourselves? Or do you think it would be really smart of them to actually come out and re-release these type of games? So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. If you guys could like, share, subscribe, all this good stuff. If you guys have been watching this long, I really appreciate it. It means a lot. And yeah, until next time, Harmonic out. Peace.